Hey everybody, welcome to MaffmanJones Movie Reviews. I'm your host, John Maffio, and today's featured movie is Suicide Squad, directed by David Ayer. The story concerns a bunch of bad guys, nefarious bad guys, who may not be also nefarious, who are forced to team up to technically become good guys to defeat a really, really bad guy, thanks to a very formidable and intimidating leader played by Viola Davis known as Amanda Waller. This mix of criminals, they have bombs in their necks, and if they do not cooperate and go with the mission that is led by Joel Kinnaman's character, Rick Flag, then they go boom. But can they do that? Can they save the day, save the world, while in the process getting along with each other? Alright, enough of the temper tantrums. Movie wasn't good. It was entertaining. It was enjoyable. So effing frustrating though. You could see a great fun movie in here that is very reminiscent of Guardians of the Galaxy. And funny enough, you could see that they were trying to emulate aspects of movies like Guardians of the Galaxy. I want to talk about what's good first. Most of the cast performances are actually really good. I was a really big fan of Viola Davis as Amanda Waller. She was fierce, she was crazy, she wasn't afraid to do what she had to do to get the job done, even if that meant doing something that was AWOL. Joel Kinnaman, I'm really growing to like. Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn is pretty much on the nose. Save for some dialogue and for some things that happen with her character in the movie that seem forced, her as the character is pretty perfect in my opinion. And my favorite character of the movie, who basically carries this movie on his shoulders, believe it or not, is Will Smith's Deadshot. He's the character I cared about the most. Will Smith brings his awesome charisma. Having expected him to be a very supporting character, he's actually an anchor for the story, and his character arc, which I really enjoy seeing being fulfilled, really helps the movie become more engrossing. His character makes all the right strides at all the right moments, and he basically hits all the notes that he has to. He doesn't really have a bad moment in this movie, in my opinion. I also was a big fan of the interactions between the characters of the Suicide Squad. Just there's a couple really hilarious moments between these characters, whether they're individual moments or moments where they're interacting with each other. The action is also a lot of fun to watch. It's enjoyable on a surface level value. There's not really much more to it. I mean, it's not like A-level filmmaking here, but you can see what's going on. The camera does focus on characters, so you can actually see them. There's no shaky cam. You can actually comprehend, the dance of these action sequences from beginning to end when they actually occur. And the soundtrack, even though I do think it's a little jarring how they bounce from song to song as quickly as they do in moments, the soundtrack in this movie is pretty great. I can't argue with that. And now we get into the negatives, which this is my problem. The movie feels so tonally inconsistent. It feels like it was chopped up terribly in the editing room, and for that, the pacing feels really off. In the beginning of the movie, it's like Exposition City with these characters, and the way they went about executing the idea of letting the audience know who these characters are and what they do and what their personalities are, kind of hit or miss. You get a lot of flashbacks that come out of nowhere, and the way they kind of like throw you into these flashbacks is really jarring and polarizing. Like, you kind of just like, boom, here you go, boom, here you go, boom, here you go. And a lot of scenes don't have time to breathe, because before you can actually get into a scene, either the emotional weight of the scene is taken away by a silly joke or something, like a little throwaway line, or the scene actually cuts to a totally different scene completely. And for the first act of the movie, which is about the first half an hour to 45 minutes, when we're getting these characters established, the movie jumps around so much that it's hard to really keep focus, and it's frustrating to watch because you want to just soak in these characters before shit hits the fan. in the second and third acts, but the movie just jumps around so much. The movie does a better job of becoming more focused as the story progresses. We get more fleshed out scenes, the movie actually moves at a better pace, but at the beginning it's really jarring. However, it does not take away from the fact that the villain of this movie, who ties into the entire story and the mission for the Suicide Squad, the reason why they are being sent out from prison to actually become good guys, is kind of stupid. This villain was really, distractingly hilarious in an unintentional way for reasons I can't really give away. If you've seen the movie, the villain ties into a little arc with another character who is going on a mission in this movie, and the motivations for this character who is going on a mission to do something in regards to the villain is extremely weak, but it's like the centerfold of the story, and just makes the movie less compelling because they do such a bad job of establishing this connection between the villain and this certain character that it does really, you don't care. And I wanted to get into this last because I've been thinking about this all night, but I've settled on it. I don't like Jared Leto's Joker. At least I don't like the way he is portrayed in this movie, which could be the fault of the script, which is a pretty bad script, by the way. Could be the fault of David Ayer, who was trying to get a certain acting direction out of Jared Leto. Could be the fault of Warner Brothers Studios for trying to make a Joker that's too different, and it makes it a little appalling. I don't know. I just feel like whenever he was on screen, which basically also, by the way, he doesn't have that much screen time, so if you're expecting to see a lot of the Joker in this movie, you don't. But when he is on screen, you don't really have time to invest in his acting, in Jared Leto's acting. He kind of goes for this weird animalistic approach with the Joker in certain scenes, and it kind of turned me off. But by the time you can actually, by the time he can actually do something with his acting, the scene will cut away, and it's frustrating. Also, by the way, there is some really silly fan service in this movie between Harley Quinn and the Joker that don't have context in the story or the movie. It's just there for fan service, and it's really, really stupid. But yeah, I don't know if it's really fair to get really in-depth with Jared Leto's Joker performance because there's not really much to go based off of. It's kind of like Tom Holland's Spider-Man from Civil War. You can get a first impression, but I don't know if you could really judge the performance until you see him in a full movie. But I mean, based off what I saw in this movie, but overall, Suicide Squad was a very disappointing, convoluted mess of a movie. It's very sloppy, it's very choppy. It's got a really terrible story that really tries to emulate things from other movies where it was done much better. However, there are aspects to be enjoyed heavily. The movie is fun, it's enjoyable, it's entertaining, but I don't know if there's really much more to it. It's just surface level candy, in my opinion, where I actually do think a movie like Batman vs Superman has a lot more to offer as a film. This is my rating right now, a 2.5 out of 5 stars. It's a Sam Worthington Applebee's meal. It's a little better than average. The potential was so strong, and I could see so much more potential in this movie, but it didn't live up to that potential. I guess we have to really hope now for a majority of, audiences and critics that Wonder Woman is the movie that blows everybody's socks off next summer. Here's hoping. But now I want to know from you guys. What did you think of Suicide Squad? Let me know what you thought in the comments down below. Who's your favorite Suicide Squad character, whether it's based in the comics or this movie? Mine is Deadshot. Will Smith is so goddamn good in this movie. It's crazy. If you enjoyed this review, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my social medias in the info box. I am John Maffio, aka MaffmanJones, and I'll see you guys next time.